Okay, I guess we can kick it off. We have Jena Cooper and John Buchanan, who is the Chief Growth Officer from GoGuardian. So I'll pass it on to you. Thank you for attending, and this deck will be shared after along with the recording.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We are really excited to have you all here, or if you're watching the recording, thank you for joining. Just want to start by introducing just kind of the agenda today and what our objectives are, and then we'll introduce the team as well. But we want to introduce the team, and then we're going to do a brief overview of GoGuardian and kind of where we've been and where we are and where we're going with our Canadian school boards, with our products, and all of that within the Canada region. We are not new to the area. We've been in Canada for over 6 years, and we've done a ton of research on the needs and solutions that we have that can help with the needs for districts and boards there. And so we want you to know that that's what we're there for. We're here to help you with student safety, with data, with classroom management, so that you can really feel like you're getting the most out of effective technology use with students. And so we hope you gather that from today. I'm not a big fan of slide decks. My whole team will tell you that. So we're going to go through some things, but we're also going to jump into the products live as well. We're not going to be able to do a deep dive into every single feature that's in them, but we're going to do some brief highlights so that you can see the interfaces and see how they work. And then at the end, we'll do some Q&A, and we would love to meet with you to talk about your specific situation at your district or your board and how we might be able to help as you come up with questions through this. We do want this to be interactive, so please put your questions in the chat. Brandon and Carrie and Matt are going to help monitor the chat for us today. I will stop and ask for questions along the way as well, so we would love for you to interact with us as well. And so this is our team. And what I really want to highlight here is that we are here to support you as a partner. We are not here to sell you a product. We are here to support you as a partner. And we have an entire team surrounding the success of our schools and districts, not only in the US, but in Canada as well. So I am the new business executive. I've been working in Canada for over 3 years now. I'm the one who is working with the Toronto District School Board, currently working with Peel and many others across the country. And so I've spent a lot of flights to Toronto and across the country, and looking forward to many more. And then, sorry, John, I'm going to skip you for now, but Doug is our Director of New Business. Adi Adavensky is our Customer Success Manager. She is top-notch, best of the best. And when you become a customer of ours, it is her responsibility to make sure that you stay happy and you are happy. And so, and she's fabulous. We have Carrie, who works closely with CDW, and Jordan and Stephen on our solutions engineers team. So they're the ones, you'll see their faces in some of our meetings when we're talking about the technical aspect of your school, how we can help, how we can integrate with your current systems. I know enough to be dangerous, but they're really the experts. And then we have Brandon along with us as well. And Brandon's here today. He's our regional director of customer success and also responsible for just making sure that our customers are as happy as can be. And last but not least, I saved John Buchanan. John is our Chief Growth Officer at GoGuardian. He's been an amazing addition to the team and really propelled us forward to listening to customers and making product improvements. And so we're going to have him kick off the rest of the deck today with just talking about GoGuardian and doing a quick overview of where we are, where we've been. So, John, I'll kick it over to you.
Jena, thank you. And just very quickly, can everybody hear me okay? I always want to make sure when we're doing these kind of calls that all is good there. Thank you so much for that, Jena. It is great to see all of you, and to those that are on the recording, really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. It's wonderful to be here and a part of this very important conversation. I'm going to spend about 10 minutes to provide a brief summary of our organization, our product portfolio, our scale, and our commitment to each and every one of you when it comes to working closely with us. But before I do that, I do have to have my own fun fact, Jena, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
And that is this: while I do not live in Canada, my best friends are from Toronto, which means I've spent a lot of time in Lake Muskoka, and I actually got engaged in British Columbia about 25 years ago. So your country will forever be near and dear to my heart because it has allowed me to be married to my wife of over 22 years. And as we get into GoGuardian, if you don't mind, go to the next slide, Gina. Just a couple of things that I'll highlight. We're the most scaled and successful leader in the safety and productivity market. We've been at it for over 10 years with a collection of products across student physical, digital safety and well-being, classroom engagement, in conjunction with our Pear Deck curriculum and assessment platform, data, privacy, and security, along with very transparent and responsible AI efforts, underpin all of our efforts across the portfolio, which ultimately help create safer schools, empowered teachers, and thriving students that deliver positive student outcomes each and every day. More specifically, next slide. Our product ecosystem consists of 10 products and is uniquely positioned in the market by having products across both safety and productivity, as well as curriculum and assessment. This allows us to not only understand what is happening from a student's physical and digital safety, engagement, and productivity standpoint, but also how the kids are learning and developing in the classroom. These insights are driven by integrations across our product portfolio, enabling data to be shared across our products to allow them to work better together. For example, GoGuardian Admin, a product we'll go deeper into today, has unique integrations across Beacon and Teacher, enabling our customers to get more value out of our products than any individual point solutions you would have in the industry. Next slide. In addition, our product ecosystem works across operating systems that are in most education environments, whether you're on Apple, Chrome, or Windows. Our products work seamlessly across these operating systems, and by the end of next month, we will have full feature parity across each of these operating systems where the OS allows us to do so. And that's important as I say that, because obviously we know that Apple's got different restrictions than maybe Windows or Chrome does. And so we will be at parity across all of these operating systems where they will allow us to do that. And this is important to our customers, given that the many hybrid environments that exist across our vast customer portfolio. And because of our broad product portfolio and OS flexibility, it allows us to gather large amounts of data and insights to continue to learn, as you see in the statistics on the slide to the right here, which enables us to have significant scale and deep understanding of what is happening across districts here in the US or school board environments in Canada to better support our customers and their teams. I'm going to briefly touch on the previous slide with a bit of a specific mention of Windows. As Gina mentioned, we've been in the market for well over 10 years now, over 6 years now in Canada, and we've sort of been historically known as more of a Chromebook shop than one that has product and feature parity with Windows. That is absolutely no longer the case. We have invested heavily in both Windows and Apple OSs, and this slide specifically highlights the incredible progress we have made on Windows, and particularly over the last 6 months. Now, admittedly, part of this has been driven by a statewide deal we have here in the US, where this particular partner has over 700,000 Windows devices, which has provided us significant learning and insight to make our product on Windows best in class. And so we are no longer a Chromebook shop. We are no longer one. We have complete and total parity across all the operating systems that live inside classrooms, whether it is in the US or even in Canada. Beyond our close partnerships with our operating system partners, we've built very deep and enduring partnerships with some of the most well-known and respected organizations in education. And this isn't just in the US, it is also in Canada as well. These relationships allow us to further our scale, to continue to be at the forefront of innovation, and be deeply compliant and responsive to data, privacy, security, and AI trends and policies that are happening in the market, whether it's here in the US, in Canada, or across other countries that we work in each and every day. Now, when it comes to AI, we've been at the forefront of responsible innovation on the AI front and work closely with key association and industry leaders to ensure full regulatory compliance and stay ahead of privacy and security policies, including work in Canada having passed privacy impact assessments with large school boards in Ontario. Those efforts have allowed us to be one of the largest players in our respective category in education. It is driven by our strong reputation in market, having some of the highest product NPS and customer support CSAT scores in the marketplace. and deep relationships we have across some of the largest school districts in the United States, including New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, Palm Beach in Florida, Gwinnett in Atlanta, and Clark County in Las Vegas. We've also got very strong state level relationships here in the US with the likes of Kentucky and North Carolina. But obviously most important to all of you is the work we have done to build deep and strong relationships with school boards in Canada, including Toronto, Edmonton, and Hanover. Now, these strong relationships allow us to bring significant thought leadership and product feature innovations across all of our customers, no matter the location, geography, size, need, or sophistication. And this slide that Gina just turned to illustrates just, we're not a new player in the Canadian market. We've actually been in the market for well over 6 years now, and we'll continue to prioritize your students, your teachers, and your school boards across the country in our product roadmaps, the associations we work with, and the partnerships that we develop in order to deepen our relationships and our responsibility to try to take care of your students, your teachers, and your school boards, and the administrators that represent them each and every day. Next slide for me. Given that history, we sort of believe we understand the market and have aligned our product and roadmap innovation efforts with the priorities we understand to be paramount across all of the school boards there in Canada. This slide represents our effort to show all of you how we directly align to your priorities and your needs, representative of the product or the product suite that we have in order to support those priorities for you. So I'll just take a 1 second, Gina, just to allow this slide to sit for a second, because I know how important this particular slide would be. Thank you. Beyond the prioritized alignment, I think it's also important to recognize that we want to be a very best-in-class partner to you, and when it comes to how we work with you from a budget, funding, packaging, pricing, and procurement standpoint. And we've curated a highly flexible and partner-oriented operating model in order to meet each of your needs. And it's represented on this slide in the way that we think about being able to show up to take care of you, how you need to be best taken care of so we can best support you and what you're looking for in a partner like us. As I close out and move on to the fun stuff, which is really more into the product demo, I think it's important to highlight that what I've reviewed over the last few slides is not just our perspective, but it's our perspective from the partners that we work with. And I so appreciate and absolutely love this quote from Kevin at the Toronto District School Board. I'm not going to obviously read it out loud, but I'd rather allow for just a few seconds for us to sit on this slide, Gina, if you don't mind, for those to read it and just take it in, because I do think it's just a wonderful quote and representative of how we try to show up each and every day for our customers. Thanks. Quotes like the one from Kevin drive a very passionate, customer-oriented culture we've established across our organization. Our entire company is driven by the core belief that we always must put our customers first and therefore operate an organizational framework that puts you, the customer, at the center of what we do each and every day. We will understand your goals and objectives. We will develop a plan with those in mind. We will be clear on the roles and responsibilities between your team and ours, which will enable deep collaboration that will drive insights from our collective efforts to know whether we are on or off track and adapt accordingly. It is through this framework that you will feel our entire company, whether it's Adi, Gina, Brandon, myself, but the entire company, to do and be the absolute best partner we can for you each and every day. And as I close out, I just want to highlight that beyond just the way that we try to operate as an organization for each of our partners, that we actually have statistics that reinforce that our operating model has some of the best customer support efforts at scale. And it's as noted here in our CSAT scores, as well as our resolution rates, in order to make sure that we are consistently living the belief that we want to have a deep long-term commitment and be a meaningful partner to you and how we work with you each and every day. And the way that we think about it is that we want all of you to know that we are not a vendor to you. We will never be a vendor to you. We will be a partner to you, and a partner that will be with you every single step of the way in our relationship with you. So Gina, with that, I will turn it back over to you, and so appreciate the opportunity to be here with all of you, and give it back over to the team. Thank you.
Thanks, John. If any of you have questions or anything on anything that John had to say, please feel free to put them in the chat. But we're going to move on to the really fun stuff. Not that that wasn't fun, John, and jump into some product information and demos. Today, we're going to focus on the GoGuardian side of the house. John showed you 10 products that our company has that we can support districts with. We have our safety and security side, which is GoGuardian Admin, Teacher, Beacon, Hall Pass, and Discover. And we're going to touch on all of those today. But remembering that we also have our curriculum and instruction side of the house as well to help support districts. And what they're finding is by putting things under one roof, it's helping to align that budget, those better together features where we have things in Teacher that collaborate with Pear Deck and things like that. So we want to make sure that you understand that. But what we've seen as the biggest need in working with CDW, in working with schools in Canada, is this need for these GoGuardian products for classroom management, for content filtering beyond just a firewall, and for that student safety through something like Beacon. And so as John talked about, AI is the new word, right? But we've been doing it for 10 years. We called it machine learning for a long time before AI became the word. This isn't new to us. It isn't something we were like, oh, let's plug AI in our product. It was, how do we make AI meaningful to results for students and through our products that actually mean something to districts, not just AI to have AI. And so we're not new to this. And I think that is the best thing. And just seeing here on the side that all five of these products work really well together and are integrated. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is GoGuardian Teacher and Hall Pass. And so I just want to spend a quick second. I always give a caveat to all of my districts and boards, a warning, if you will, that once you purchase GoGuardian Teacher, there will be riots if you try to take it away. Okay, so this is a fair warning for you. This is the most loved classroom management tool out there. Teachers love that it helps them to set their students up for success. We do not see GoGuardian Teacher as a discipline tool. We do not see it as a monitoring tool, although it does allow teacher to monitor students. We want you to know that it is to help set students up for success in the first place in the classroom. The goal of something like this is to get teachers out away from the computer, to have them have their students set up, locked into certain screens so they can teach, so they can go and not worry about whether Johnny's getting on NFL.com to check out the Super Bowl highlights or whatever it is, since we just got through all of that. So that's what GoGuardian Teacher is for, and I hope you'll see that through some of the features. And then brand new, just released in January, is also our Hall Pass tool. So if you don't mind typing in the chat a yes or a no, if you're using some kind of digital Hall Pass tool, or if you've looked into it. But this is Hall Pass, and this is coming up with safety for students, keeping them safe so that you know where they are at all times, and allowing us to say when certain students can be in the halls at the same time or not. And it is, the reason it's here is because it's actually integrated into GoGuardian Teacher, and we'll be able to show you that today as well. So with that, let's take a look. So I'm going to hop into GoGuardian Teacher. And this is what it looks like. If you raise your hand or thumbs up if you use Clever or ClassLink, OneRoster, any of those things. If you use Google Classroom, we work with all of those things to be able to pull in your classes for your teachers. We've also made it so that if you have two class periods that are separate names, but maybe they have the same students in the same period in them, you can actually merge classrooms as well. And so this is what GoGuardian Teacher looks like. Teachers can reorder their classes. They can do basically whatever they need to do, color code them, whatever they need to do in here as well. I'm just going to show you what it looks like when you start a session so that you can see, I can see all of my students' screens all at the same time. This is basically as real time as you can get. It's a screenshot every second on here. So it's pretty quick. It's about the quickest you can get out there. And I can see what my students are doing. I can see where they are. I can close tabs, open tabs. If I've forgotten to send my students to a certain website, I could send them to a website, the entire class all at one time to save time. And so we can monitor those screens. We can even close tabs directly from here. Hey, you're not supposed to be on typing.com right now. And I can close that for that student. So you can do everything from right here on this front and center screen. This is that open tab piece as well. I like to give the example of I live in Ohio. I still can't spell the word Cincinnati correctly. So if we were going to send all of our students to cincinnatizoo.com, how long would it take all our students to get there? Probably 20 minutes of class time, right? Like to get everybody on the same page. But instead, if I've forgotten to go to a website or I need all my third graders to go to pearact.com, I can literally just click open tab and it's going to send them all to pearact.com. I've got all my students literally on the same page at the same time. And this is extremely helpful. Your teachers have the ability to lock and unlock screens for students. So I can basically render their devices useless for a while. If I just need to send them a message that says eyes on me, give instructions, not having to scream over, say Apple's down, Chromebooks down, whatever, I can just lock their screens for them. And then we're going to talk a little bit about scenes as well. We're going to take a look at Chris here. All of those same features that we just talked about are right here at the bottom of Chris's screen that I can do for him individually as well. I can lock just Chris's screen if I need to. I can also take a screenshot. Again, we don't want parents or we don't want teachers to have to stop what they're doing in the middle of the class to go address Chris and his behavior. But we all know we've got those parents that are going to come in and say, my Chris would never ... Well, what if I can just take a quick screenshot of Chris's screen? I know that he was on a website he's not supposed to be on. It saves it up here in my screenshots so I can go back to this later and deal with it. I can email it. I can do whatever I need to do. It does not have to be something that I stop all of class to deal with at that moment. We can also annotate screens as well. So if Chris cannot figure out where that top left-hand corner is, I can make a dot on his screen to help him out. Again, this is helping with that teacher to student, student to teacher relationship. So I'm not having to call Chris out. I'm not having to go over to his screen and point to him. I can help get him where he needs to go without anybody else knowing he needed help. We also have the ability to make announcements for students like time warnings. Hey, we're done in 5 minutes, and excluding students from class. If they're meeting with a counselor or making up a math test during English class, we have that ability as well. Over here on the right-hand side, I want to show you where you can close out things. So we've got a YouTube video up here. Don't need to use that right now, so I can close it. If Chris here keeps trying to open a different website, even when I've told him not to, I can actually go on here and say, hey, google.com right now is supposed to be your active tab. I could make this active, push that screen to the front and say, this is the one I want you on right now. And I can even make this focus, which means that he can now not click on any of the other tabs that he has. So if Chris is the only one in my room that needs help with a little bit of focus, I can turn that focus on, and now he's focused on that one website. You can see which students are on focus right from the home screen. So if now I've told all my students to go to something certain and Chris says, hey, I'm locked in, I can simply click this focus button, take him out of it, and he can go on with the rest of the class. So literally a couple clicks of a button and you're ready to go. The other thing I do want to just mention in here is that you have the ability to turn on student to teachers, teacher to student chat. Again, this is very practical for the classroom if we're doing, let's say, independent work time. We just went over a new math unit, right? And the kids are going to work on a new math worksheet for the next 20 minutes. And I ask the class, how many of you have a question on the homework tonight? How many of them are going to raise their hand? I'll wait for at least one response. You can unmute or type it in the chat. I see Matt thinking like, nobody. 0, right. Lauren said 0. I'll take it. Yes, none of them. Maybe one, maybe. How many of them actually have questions? Probably half. So when we go into independent work time, this chat allows the teachers to have this one-on-one chat with students, or students to reach out to the teacher for help. Hey, I need help on this. Or me to realize, hey, Carrie, I see that you've been working on number 1 for 20 minutes, but you didn't have any questions. How can I help? Again, without calling them out, but creating that teacher to student, student to teacher relationship. So I want to make sure that I move on to scenes. There are a ton of other things in here that I'm not going to get to today, just because I want to leave room for the others. But we have the ability for student reports to pull up a 30-day report of a student's activity, how many times a teacher had to intervene with them, what websites they went to, chat history, all of that. This is great for parent-teacher conferences and all of that. We also have the ability to schedule out classes so that they automatically start and stop when they're supposed to, avoiding some of that overlapping students. But we also have a fail-safe built in for that. So if you have block schedules, pep rally schedule days, 2-hour delays, you can program those into the calendar as well. But the real power of GoGuardian Teacher that I want to talk about is in scenes. Although this is the last thing I'm mentioning right now, it is one of the first things I recommend that teachers start working on. Scenes allows you to set up narrower parameters than the district has on your students, and essentially create a lockdown browser. So a blocked list website, so let's just say common distractors. Maybe your school district allows, raise your hand if your school district allows YouTube, or a thumbs up or whatever, if you can find the reactions. Sometimes people can't find the reactions. So a lot of schools, okay, there we got a couple. Thanks, Ian. We allow YouTube, right? Thanks, Kurt. We allow YouTube, but we have a few teachers that maybe have no use for YouTube, or they've asked you to block it completely, or they have no use for it unless they're doing a specific lesson. But we find it educationally sound and our teachers use it for good reason, so we don't want to block it as a district. Your teachers could block it just in their classroom and say, I have no need for this today, so I'm going to block YouTube. Or maybe kids go to coolmathgames.com, right? And they go to Cool Math Games, and I have no use for them going to Cool Math Games, but I want them to be able to get to that when they're in study hall, but not my class. So we can put those on a distractors list, apply that to our class, and set up a little bit of a narrower request, a narrower parameter than what your firewall or filter are creating in your classroom. Yeah, Kevin, I see one of the top requests. One of those is your top request to block. So great, teacher, you don't want this website available? Cool, block it in your own classroom. You can also create these lists and then share them. So if you have some teachers who are technology, a little bit more advanced in technology than others, they can actually just create these lists and share them out with other teachers by a simple link so that they don't have to create them themselves. So working smarter and not harder. So that's what a block list is. I want to also talk about an allow list. An allow list, although it sounds different, is actually even narrower parameters for a classroom. This is saying these are the only websites you are allowed to go to today. So if we're taking a quiz in Pear Deck or Quizlet, and we are only allowed to go to Google, Quizlet, and peardeck.com, and that is all, I can put those in here. I can set those tabs to auto open, and I can limit the number of tabs. So when Matthew walks into my classroom, his tabs are going to open. It is the 7 websites he's allowed to go to, and that is all. He cannot open additional tabs. He cannot go to other websites. Those will all be blocked, essentially creating that lockdown browser as well. You'll see here, I just want to point this out as well. If you are using our content filter, this is one of those better together features as well. Thumbs up if you get IT tickets all the time. I just tried to use this website in my classroom and it's not working. It's blocked by the district. I can't get there. Kevin's like, yeah, all the time, right? I dealt with that too. I used to be a district technology leader myself, and we got those IT tickets all the time. They have the ability to check this ahead of time. What websites, if they get this green little check mark, it is approved and allowed by the district and it is okay. And then if it is not, they will get a red X and they will know this is not allowed in my classroom. I need to either override it or if I'm allowed to, or check with my administration before class time. And so this is giving them that little bit of better together feature to check that ahead of time. I'm going to pop back in my classroom. Let me save this out. Yes. All right. And then all I have to do to apply the scene, I'm going to go back to my classroom. I can also set it to start when class starts as well. But I can click this apply a scene button. I can select all students. Maybe today is quiz day, and I'm going to apply the scene to everyone. Now, because I had done this previously, I want to be able to show you this as well. You can also split your students up into groups as well. So I can create student groups on purpose or random. I can name them. So if you have your lower level learners, higher level learners, if you have your lions, tigers, and bears, whatever you have your groups called, you can put those in here and save them. And let's say we have the quiz time scene applied to this group. Then this group, I want them to be able to work on a blended learning station. When Chris is done with his quiz, I can literally drag and drop his screen down here. All of his quiz sites are going to close, all of his blended learning sites open, and he is off and running. And so this is taking that transition time. The average time it takes a student to transition from one activity to the other is 9 to 12 minutes in the classroom. That is a ton of instructional time. And so we can save a little bit of that by just putting Chris into the scene where he's now off and running into the next scene. So with that, that's a general overview of GoGuardian Teacher. There's probably about 22 features I did not touch on there, but I want to make sure we have room to get to the others. What of that, I'm going to ask a question in the chat, so if you can participate. Do you see any of those things being helpful for your teachers, requested by your teachers, or do you have any questions on GoGuardian Teacher so far? Want to pause and give a moment. And it allows me to get a drink. You're welcome to come off mute too. I see Kevin said with differentiated learning, these tools and insights are essential. Yes, super helpful when you're differentiated learning for sure. Wait for that last comment to come in. And then while we're doing that, I'm going to switch over to GoGuardian admin real quick. I do want you, while those last couple comments are coming in, at the top of the screen as well, you'll see that all of these pieces of GoGuardian, Hall Pass, Fleet, Director, Beacon, Admin, those are all included in here as well. So I want you to notice that as well. I'm going to pull up one other thing really quickly. One thing I forgot to do to show you, let me see if it's on Morgan's, is this Create Hall Pass button. So if you can see this button here, Create Hall Pass, this is where we can create a Hall Pass for a student. So if Morgan needs to go to the restroom or the nurse or wherever in the building, I can create this Hall Pass directly from GoGuardian Teacher. I can say where she's headed. So is she headed to the nurse? Is she headed to the restroom? Round trip or one way? And I can set a duration for it. And then I can submit this. And this is going to show me where Morgan is allowed to go. Now you noticed something. This has a blocker. So this is set. So the nurse also has to approve this to say, I see this and I understand that Morgan is now coming to my room and I'm expecting her within the next 5 minutes. Hall Pass also allows you to block 2 students from being in the hallway at the same time. So if you have Johnny and Jesse who keep trying to meet under the bleachers during 3rd period math, we can set them up as having a blocker so that they cannot be in at the same time as well. And so you're waiting for approval. You have all of the things to be able to see whether you want to override it, add comments, reject it, and then you can click on the student and go into all of the things that are all the passes that are available as well. And so I'm going to go in there really quickly. And you can see that this is waiting in my main system for approval. The hall monitor is allowed to see everybody that is in the hallway at the same time as well. And as an administrator, you have the ability to set up all of the settings in Hall Pass of who's allowed to be in the hallway. You can limit the number of passes for a student as well. So if you have somebody who's going to the restroom every 30 seconds during the day, I can say they're only allowed to have 2 passes during the day. And so then when they run out, it's going to put that blocker in as well. So this gives you huge insights into the data as well. So if I log in as an administrator, I can see all of my site settings. I can go into every room. I can set up time restrictions if we have recurring passes. Again, this is for that safety. If you're handing a student a piece of paper and something happens at school, how do we know where they were headed, where they were going, who gave them the paper pass? Are they missing? This gives all of your administration, all of your hallway monitors, insights into who's in the hallways, when they're in the hallways, and what they're doing. So this has become a huge part of student safety as well. And we can hop into that more in detail as well. Again, about 20 features in there that I didn't hit on today, but we can hop into those individually when we meet as well. All right. Ian has had requests for GoGuardian teacher, and that their driving force is differentiated learning, which is great. All right, so let's hop into admin, a brief overview of admin. This is our content filtering tool. I understand that most districts and boards in Canada are using firewall as their main form of protection. One of the reasons that Toronto District School Board partnered with us was getting data and insights into the ROI of their one-to-one program. Who's using what? Where are they using them? Where are these being used? And also additional filters beyond firewall. And I'll show you that here in a minute. So the dashboard is going to give you this overview of information. What are your top websites? You can sort this to your top video searches, docs, apps, categories, all going on at the same time. And so this is where you can sort by all of that. So if you've got a YouTube video that went viral in my classroom or in my school, I see that it's my top website, I need to go block it. You can go to it straight from here, block it on the website, all with just a couple of buttons. Browsing activity is going to be a fire hose of information coming in at you. But when you have a blocked website within GoGuardian admin, it's going to tell you why. And this is a pain point that we've heard. Why are sites being blocked? Is it a certain policy? Is it a category? Is it something like a classroom management tool? Where are these blocks coming from? And many other tools take you 74 clicks to figure out where it's coming from, right? So we want this to be quick as a button. I see that this is blocked. It is blocked by a scene. So you can see that I have this blocked for the student. So it's not in a policy. There's not any reason to go panic about it. If there is something that a student has viewed and needs to be added to our list of blocked websites, I also don't have to copy, paste, go into 30 different screens and put it in there. I literally can click add to quick editor, click on my quick editor, and I can now add this to a block and add it to a policy just with a couple clicks of a button. Again, we don't want this taking, 3 days for you to be able to block a website that needs to be blocked for your students. We want you to be able to do it seamlessly within the platform. And so I'm not going to save this. I get yelled at when I save things in the demo environment, but I want you to know that that is there and available as well. We also have the ability to click on a student and see a student's activity. So if there's one that's having a particular amount of trouble, we can go in and see all of their activity timeline, any smart alerts that they've had, and we'll talk about those in a second, but you can get any information on a student that you want from here as well. And we can see the category that these are in, and those are within our policies, which we'll go into here in a minute. One thing that I want to show you and make sure that we touch on today is smart alerts. Smart alerts is the biggest differentiator between us and any other content filter or any firewall. I would put smart alerts and GoGuardian admin against any other filter available for school districts and see how much we catch that is slipping through other filters. Our smart alerts used to be just for explicit content, pornography, things like that. However, we have been innovating. We have been hearing pain points from our customers, and we have made product improvements based on that feedback. So I'm wondering, any of you that are IT leaders, how many of you play whack-a-mole with proxy sites all the time? All right, I got some quick hand raises on that one. We have created smart alerts for proxies. No more whack-a-mole, or at least a lot less whack-a-mole. Our feedback from our customers on this has been literally that this is a game changer. We can sniff out those proxy sites and block them from getting to them so that you are not constantly getting into this, this game of whack-a-mole with your students. So we do have smart alerts where you can set up your triggers. You can set up your tolerance for high, medium, and low tolerance. You can set up who is getting alerted to these triggers as well. So we can say, okay, very high confidence, we want explicit, we want you to block it. We can set up block it, message student. We can notify someone of these. So if you are a district leader and you've got a kiddo at XYZ middle school who is getting these smart alerts, I want to send those alerts directly to that principal, right? Directly to somebody at that school who is connected with that student and I can have a conversation with them quickly. Not necessarily just me, the IT leader, getting all of these as a flood. And so you have the ability to do that. You can create role-based access control into GoGuardian admin. So teachers have certain access principles, can maybe see things, but they can't adjust them. And so you have the ability to really, really customize this. But the proxies have been an absolute game changer for us. The other thing that is coming this in the second quarter is proxies for games. Can I get a little like, woo, proxies for games as well? We do have a category for games. We have a category for educational games, but as many of you know, they're popping up all the time. You know, what gaming sites are coming up? And so our proxies can go in and figure out with these new games popping up time after time, which ones are available, which ones are not, which ones should be available for our schools. And again, when you get a smart alert, you're getting context as well. If a student pulls up a proxy site, I can see what they were doing 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after this alert. So did they just happen to stumble upon one and it's a good kid? You know, this student has never really had any issues before. It looks like they stumbled upon it and once they got on it, they got off of it right away. Or is this a kid actively seeking out to find these kinds of things? And that provides the context for the kind of conversation that you need to have with the student. And you can see here the assignees for this particular student and OU as well. So I just wanted to make sure that you had a look at that. This is an absolute game changer for our districts and for our boards all along. Any questions on that before I pause for a quick second or while I go into a different section? Okay. I need like a ooh and ah, a yes or a I'm sleeping and taking a nap, something. All right, I got some thumbs ups. Thank you. It is hard when you don't have your cameras on, so I can't see your lovely faces to know if you're alive. So, all right, I just want to hop into policies really quickly. I'm going to try and spend about 3 more minutes on admin. These are the policies. You can have a district policy, but then you can also have other policies under the district for particular buildings or grade levels, however you have your OU structure set up. So if I need a little bit tight tighter policies on elementary schools, I can do that. If I need a little looser on high schools to give them more access, I can. All right, so this is where the school policies come in. These are our website URLs. You can do wildcards. You can put all of that within the policies. We do also have our website categories, thousands of categories coming in, websites coming in every day that we are categorizing as fast and furious as we can. And so, but you have the ability, for instance, for games to turn on educational games and turn off everything else. So you have the ability to do that. We also have an AI category, so you can turn artificial intelligence tools. I believe we had 3 or 6 of them about 6 or 8 months ago, and now we have over 30 AI websites that are a part of this category. So constantly improving day after day. And then the last category I just want to point out here is uncategorized. You have the ability to block any uncategorized website initially. And then if a teacher comes to you and says, hey, this is actually a website I need access to, then you can unblock it from there. But most of our districts and boards tend to choose to block uncategorized websites until they can be filtered through and seen. It's pretty rare that a teacher comes up with one and says, hey, this is blocked for uncategorized. We have the ability to filter down into the details of YouTube as well. We have one of the best YouTube filtering capabilities out there. You have the ability to turn on age restriction, blocking the sidebar, comments, live chat, and you can turn on restrictive mode. That's going to block anything that's rated for over the age of 18 with caution, because we don't have the ability to choose how they rate things. So knowing that that is there as well. We can allow specific videos, we can allow and block certain keywords, and we can choose those categories that are allowed and blocked as well. So really, really in-depth YouTube filtering as well. We also, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but being a huge BYOD school area, we know that a lot of you have bring your own devices at your schools, which is one of the benefits of GoGuardian, that we are device agnostic. And so we can work with BYOD. And one of the things we've added this year is our precision DNS networks. And so we can go into more details on that as well. We would meet with a solutions engineer to be able to pull that out, but you have the ability to filter those visitors, those visiting devices, and delineate between teachers and staff and students and what those look like as well. Super powerful, especially for our BYODs. And then the last thing I'm going to touch on here are our custom groups. This used to be called Penalty Box. But in custom groups, you can create a group. Maybe Brandon, Matt, and Lawrence have been off task a lot. Not to call you 3 out, but they've been off task a lot, and they have proven to us over and over again that they cannot use their school issued device properly. And so we need to put them in some lockdown parameters where they are only allowed to go to Google Classroom, Schoology, and Pear Deck. That's all they're allowed to go to, and GoGuardian, whatever. That's it. And so we can put them in this custom group that says, these are the only educational websites that you're allowed to go to in the entire school day. This is it. And so, or even at home as well. And so you have the ability to put that in there. This is also used a lot for esports teams. So if they need access to more things than other students are allowed to, or that our district policy allows, it allows you to put them in there, give them extended access as well. Again, we have theft recovery also for Chromebooks, but I, again, will delineate or defer that until our next conversation. But I did want to get through some of the main highlights of GoGuardian admin. If anybody has a comment on how this could be helpful beyond or work with your firewall, please put it in the chat. Or if anybody has any questions, please put that in there. And we have one more thing that we're going to talk about today. All right, we are going to hop over to GoGuardian Beacon. All right. I always give a caveat. I'm going to spend about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and then leave some time for Q&A at the end. But I do want to pull up GoGuardian Beacon. I also like to give a little caveat that this is a difficult topic to talk about. And so I want to give fair warning to that as well. This is GoGuardian Beacon. And I also want to tell you that we have partnered alongside so many districts when it comes to talking about liability. When it comes to a program like Beacon, we are monitoring student devices, student issued devices for signs of suicide, self-harm, and harm to others. And we have gone alongside a lot of our schools to talk about liability. We have customized so many of our settings in GoGuardian Beacon to be able to deal with some of those things as well, of choosing when you're monitoring, when you're not monitoring, and put that into your policy. So I just want to give that caveat because I know that's a big conversation, is what about privacy of students? What about security of students? What about when we're monitoring, when we're not? We don't want to be on 24/7. And so we want to let you know that we've done that. And most of our schools in the US now don't even blink an eye at putting this into place because they know that we've been compliant with all of that. In Beacon, we monitor for 5 different levels of suicide and self-harm, and also 4 different levels of harm to others, threats and violence. So in suicide and self-harm, we monitor, these are escalatory categories. So we monitor all the way from suicide research, which is just maybe seeing how many teens die by suicide in Canada every year, all the way up to active planning, where a student has a specific time, place, or method in mind to die by suicide. And so we have saved over 19,000 lives that we've impacted on keeping these things from happening in the past 6 years that we have had GoGuardian Beacon working for teachers and students and staff and schools. And we're really, really proud of that. I myself used this at my district, and I have 7 students I know wouldn't be here had we not had this in place. And so it's an incredibly powerful tool. I've spent the last couple of years working closely with the Beacon team and some of their improvements there. And it's been just literally life-changing for a lot of schools and districts. So the categories for threats and violence are guns and bombs. This is specifically related to the transporting or acquisition of them, violent acts, bullying, and historical acts as well. So when we get into this and we see an alert come in, it's going to give you the student's name, what type of alert it is, and then we're going to give you a screenshot of why the alert was created and 15 minutes of context before and after the alert was created as well, so that you can tell, did a student happen upon this? Were they going to the suicide hotline to look for something to quote into an English paper or cite as a source? Or were they actually going down a rabbit hole looking for help? And this helps to guide our conversations and our next steps and actions. We also give you full browsing history of the student as well. You can see any action that has been taken. So these are the 8 actions. So if I get the alert, maybe I'm just going to say response protocol initiated, and one of my counselors is able to trigger that they've had an in-person conversation with the student. Then all of those actions are tracked here. When we started using this at my district, it took away the craziness of like, did somebody deal with this student? We had text messages and emails and phone calls. Did somebody do this? Did somebody take care of this? Is somebody on this? It's all right here. It's tracked in one place. We can also see who viewed the alert, who's looking at the alert, and we can see all other alerts created by that student. So we can identify trends, we can identify escalations and things like that there. And then we also have a place to keep your notes. This entire screen is exportable to a PDF. So if you have a threat assessment system, a student information system that you need to upload this in, it's not doing double work. You're able to do all of that in here and export it out to other systems. We have a data dashboard that allows you to see overall your entire school. So if you're a district leader, you can see every school building and where are the most alerts coming from and where do we need to deploy our resources to. Because if I see one school has 2,000 alerts and every other school has 5, I got to get some people over to, GoGuardian University. They're having the most trouble. They're having the most difficulty. They've got the students with the most alerts. What social emotional learning can I do over there? What counselors can I deploy over there to help with whatever's happening? And so also we have the students with the most alerts as well, so you can see where that's at. The last thing I want to touch on here in the last minute we have is the settings, that we allow you to completely customize these settings. We do not want you to get what's called alert fatigue, where you just get exhausted from getting too many alerts. So we work with every school to customize what is going to be your sweet spot to catch students as early in the process as possible without getting completely overwhelmed by the alerts that are coming in to see you. And this is about a 4 to 6 week adjustment pilot period where we can really dial in what works for your school and even for each building. We allow you to choose, who's on your escalation list. We have something called Beacon 24/7, where we have a safety and support team that's actually monitoring those highest level of alerts, those active planning alerts, 24/7. And they can make a phone call to your team if there is something that comes up that is urgent and seen as an immediate threat. They will call your team. So you get to actually take the weight off your own shoulders and know that on Christmas Day, if one of my students writes a suicide note in Google Docs, I'm going to get a phone call from the Beacon team, and they're going to see this and they're going to help me to take care of that. I don't have to check my computer 24/7. And so this is a great way to be able to customize those alerts. Are we getting alerts after school, during school, both? When are we getting notifications, email summaries? It's completely customizable to fit all of the needs for you and your district. And so again, there's a lot of things in here that I didn't touch on today, but I do want to be cognizant of time. And so would love to take a deeper dive into this and how it can help later on as well. All right. I hate ending on the heaviest subject, but it's better than beginning with it, I think. So thoughts, questions about any of those things, how they can help, anything burning in your mind, what do you see as most helpful? And you're welcome to come off mute as well. I hope this was a helpful, at least beginning overview of all the GoGuardian products. Kevin?
Thanks, Jenna. Big fan of the product, have been for a long time. So good work on the product itself. I just, from my perspective, it's something we're navigating internally, monitoring versus not monitoring, and which, we're kind of in the middle, being an IT shop. But to me, like I said in the chat, I think differentiated learning, this tool can go a long way to provide that. Just curious about, I guess I need to reach out to CDW for costing. And one thing we're struggling with here, especially in Ontario, is budget constraints and priorities of where that budget gets spent. So something I need to work at here at the board is that prioritization of funds for a product like this and the value that it brings. And that's kind of where I'm at. So yeah, but thank you very much.
You're welcome. And we are doing everything that we can to make this make sense. We know that there's a huge need, and it is a priority for us to be able to work with your boards and your districts to be able to provide what you need for your students. And we'll work on pricing. We're trying to make this make sense for you. We know the value is there. We know the need is there. We don't want that to be the reason that you're not using it.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, hey Gina, do you see the question in the chat around the licensing?
Yes. Yep, perfect. Matthew, we do our licensing by student or device count, whichever is least. So generally it's students. And so if you have, 60,000 students in your district, that's how we license. We don't charge for staff devices. We don't go into doing all of that. We just buy students or devices. Hopefully that's helpful. Perfect. Yep, that's fine. We'll go over yep. And we do work with, we're not worried about how many students you have. We will do customized pricing. So if you need to get some quotes going to get approvals for things like this, you'll work directly with me. So you can work through your CDW rep as well. So you can reach out to your CDW rep Actually, I'll share my screen here. I did have a really good next step slides and I kind of forgot about it. I was into the product demo. So let's go down here. Actually, that's in our next steps as well, is to contact your CDW rep. And they will help to set up a meeting between the two of us. And we can do a technical deep dive into your district's devices, your technical setup, and your ecosystem to make sure that we can figure that out. We can get pricing to you. We do, as John said in his slide, for procurement purposes, we do work with you on pilots with certain grade levels, certain buildings. We are looking to make this make sense for you as well. So, and then we can kind of go from there. But the reaching out to your CDW rep to get a meeting set up with me or to me directly, and I'll loop in your CDW rep, either way is great. Perfect. And Kevin, I'm happy to have a conversation with you to get you a general idea as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Cameron can verify that I can do quite the complicated proposals if needed. So
Good to know.
We've done a few, so we know that pricing is kind of what you need first to get an idea. Thanks, Cameron, for verifying.
Because, I don't want to get them all excited. I want them to get excited and then have some money behind the excitement. So,
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we understand that that's kind of what that looks like.
Awesome.
So, yeah, CDW is a great partner. John put that in the chat. And so we're doing everything we can to commit to helping you out. Any other questions or anything? Hopefully this was helpful today. We're excited to work with you. And CDW will be helping us to get some meetings set up to kind of go over some individual pricing, and then obviously going through your own technical environment and what that looks like as well to make sure that we can work with you the best we can.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Lawrence, anything from you? I think he left us. He said I was going over. He's out. All right. Well, thank you all. I'll give you some time back and have a great